Khamzat Chimaev may never fight again in the UFC, and a lot of people are asking themselves, will Khamzat Chimaev fight again? The reason being is because the other day Khamzat Chimaev took to his Twitter and posted a series of photos, showing just how sick he had gotten after a recent hand surgery. Now, he has since deleted those photos, and why he would do that, I honestly have no clue. Maybe he didn't want people to make fun of him, maybe he didn't want people to feel sorry for him, maybe he didn't want people to see him as weak, but I don't know anybody in their right mind who would think those negative things about Khamzat Chimaev. We all know how good Khamzat Chimaev is. We all know how strong the dude is. He is the furthest thing from weak you could possibly get. However, he also posted this video to his Twitter as well, where he said that he would be coming back soon.
Feel good. Coming back soon. For my belts.
Khamzat Chimaev is an absolute superstar in the UFC. The dude has 7.4 million followers on Instagram alone, which is huge for any fighter. However, this wouldn't be the first time we see medical issues force an up-and-coming prospect to retire. Some of you might remember a fighter by the name of Zhabit Article. He was an up-and-coming prospect in the UFC. He was an incredibly talented striker, and everybody thought he was on the fast track to becoming champion. However, after his fight with Calvin Kattar, he retired due to some medical issues and concerns. I remember being extremely disappointed when Zhabit Article retired. To see a great fighter's career cut short because of health problems due to health concerns is very disappointing. And now there is a possibility that the same thing might happen to Khamzat Chimaev, and that is heartbreaking. Khamzat Chimaev, in my opinion, is probably the next big thing in the UFC. I truly do believe that if he continues his fighting career, he will be as popular as some of the biggest names out there, including Conor McGregor. Do I think he will be as popular? Obviously, no one has ever been as popular as Conor, but I think Khamzat Chimaev would literally be one of the most popular fighters that the UFC had ever seen. I mean, he already is. He has 7.4 million followers on Instagram alone, and I know I'm repeating that, and he has never even been champion before. So imagine the level of stardom that he would get if he became champion. Imagine the level of stardom that he would have if he became champion of 2 divisions. The dude has plenty of skill, we all know how good he is, and we know damn well he could be champion of 2 divisions. The dude is already a superstar, and he probably hasn't even peaked in his career yet. I would absolutely hate to be robbed of Khamzat Chimaev in his prime. It would probably be one of the worst things to ever happen in the UFC. The dude has dominated absolutely everyone he has fought, including Kamaru Usman. There is no telling how good Khamzat Chimaev could have really been. There is no telling how long he could have remained unbeaten and undefeated. There is no telling how far he could have truly went. And I would hate to be left wondering what could have been. I don't want to see Khamzat Chimaev wind up a what if video on YouTube. And I hope Khamzat Chimaev gets better and is able to continue training. At this current moment in time, he doesn't have any bouts officially scheduled. Whether or not he actually returns and fights in the UFC remains to be seen. And yes, he did make a little Twitter post saying that he would be back, but that really isn't a whole lot to go on, unfortunately. Khamzat Chimaev is a fighter, and of course he wants to come back. But I only want him to come back if he's actually healthy enough to compete. I don't want to see any medical issues or health problems get any worse. And if you remember, not too long ago, Khamzat Chimaev actually got really sick with COVID, and that forced him into a semi-retirement, and an article by MMA Mania summarizes it pretty well. Now, there's gonna be a little bit of reading, so just a heads up. It affected him so quickly, Chimaev's jiu-jitsu coach Alan told MMA Fighting's Portuguese language podcast, he had every symptom, including difficulty to breathe. We were worried. He started to struggle desperately in the middle of the night. He couldn't breathe, and we wanted to take him to the hospital. Nascimento, I hope that's how you say that, who was also infected by the virus, flew back to Sweden with Khamzat as soon as they tested negative. That's when doctors took x-rays and an MRI that showed serious damage to Khamzat's lungs. According to Nascimento, it was looking like he had pneumonia or asthma or something like that. Unfortunately, Chimaev decided to later return to the United States out any of his team members or coaching staff, and once again thought he was healthy enough to start training. That's when things quickly took a turn for the worse. Time went by and he didn't have any symptoms anymore, and he thought he was ready to train, Nascimento said. The UFC told him he couldn't train. Doctors used a lot of medication on him, but he went to extreme couture to spar. And out of nowhere, he started to cough up and spit blood. There were a lot of cases of high-level athletes dealing with severe post-COVID complications at the time, or even death, because they didn't respect the post-COVID rest time. Chimaev, who may be one of the hardest training fighters in the game today, didn't know what to do. He was unable to train and was experiencing serious complications from a virus that is no longer in his system. It was a difficult situation to say the least, which eventually led to the young fighter contemplating his future in the sport. Now, keep in mind, obviously, Khamzat Chimaev did get over this COVID issue. After that, he went on to fight Gilbert Burns, Kevin Holland, and his most recent opponent, Kamaru Usman. However, after the Kamaru Usman fight, Khamzat had to have that wrist surgery, and he had gotten really sick, as we've seen in the pictures. Khamzat Chimaev was very sick at one point, and it seems like he was gonna retire. But he bounced back and was able to fight again in the UFC. And I hope that is the same thing that's happening here. I hope Khamzat is gonna bounce back and fight in the UFC. But I only want to see him back if he's healthy enough to do so. The dude clearly trains way too hard and puts in a lot of hard work and effort, and it would suck to see that be cut short because he got sick. What do you guys think? Do you want to see Khamzat Chimaev come back? And how do you think Khamzat Chimaev would actually do if he came back? I would really love to see the dude back. He seems to be in a much better place now, so I think that's definitely really good news, and hopefully he is on his way back. And if he comes back, I think he would do really well. After all, the dude is like 13-0 and has absolutely dominated all 7 of his fights that he has had in the UFC. So I'm pretty sure if he comes back, he might come back better than ever. Hopefully. And hopefully be able to fight for a title. And hopefully maybe one day be a double champ. But like I said, what do you guys think? If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. If you have any ideas for future videos, ideas on how I can improve these ones, let me know as well. Anyways, I love all of you. Peace out. Have a good one. And I'll see you next time.